Alright, so I just finished watching the 2010 British Grand Prix. I had to watch it a little bit later today than usual. Um, Great race. It was probably one of the best races I've ever seen. I'll go ahead and put it there. Um, there was a little bit of a backstory between um, Vettel and his teammate Weber on Saturday during third practice. Apparently, Vettel didn't. First of all, they brought a new front wing to Silverstone, and they only had two, one per driver. So they had one of the new front wing, the new specification. Weber damaged his in third practice. Um, Christian Horner, the team principal at Red Bull, made the decision to take Mark Webber's new front wing and give it to Vettel. Um, the thought process there being that it was a faster, more advantageous front wing, and that because Vettel was ahead in the championship points, they would afford Sebastian that luxury, that extra, you know, bit of go fast. And Weber was not very pleased about this. Not pleased at all. So it really came as no surprise that he um, gave it to Vettel pretty good in the first corner. Um, and the run from the start finish line down to Cops, the right side of the track was more grippy. So if you watch the replay, what you'll see is Vettel or Weber basically storms by on the outside into turn one, um, well down the straight really, and Vettel tries to cut over and block him a little bit. And what happens is the Cops is a very fast corner. With a bunch of runoff. And so basically what happens is they got going down in the corner really fast, and Vettel basically parked his car on the outside of Mark's, and Mark took his line through the corner, basically shoving Sebastian wide. And it was at that point, there's kind of some ambiguity as to when Vettel punctured his tire. Whether it was because he was off the racing line and there was debris, or Lewis came really close when going around him. So Lewis's front end plate may have kind of precipitated that puncture. But anyways, Vettel got a puncture. I mean, literally, in the first corner and a half. So had a limp all the way back around. He was in 24th, last place. Ended up storming back to a 7th place finish. Some very good driving between Vettel and Sutil over 7th place. Sutil definitely had a quicker car in a straight line. Nobody can beat a Red Bull in high downforce. There's just not a car out there on the track that performs better in high speed, high downforce corners. And you were able to see that when Vettel was creeping up on Sutil, where he was able to just reel him in through Abbey. Yeah, Abbey. Because Sutil had to lift, and Vettel was just flat through the entire corner. It was great. So, great drive there from Vettel. He was able to go from 24th to 7th. Also in that vein was Jenson Button going from 14th after an abysmal qualifying to 4th. So Jenson had a great drive. He jumped a lot of spots there at the start too. So good job there. Alonso and Kubica. I don't know what lap it was on. There was an issue where Alonso was on the outside of Kubica, and Kubica didn't shove him, but there was no space around the outside for Alonso. So Alonso got forced across the grass, and ended up taking the position away from Kubica. Well, general principle in Formula One, for those people who don't know, is that if you gain a spot during by going off track, you give the spot back immediately. In most cases, what you would see is the driver who took the spot lift off, let the other driver pass, and resume attacking. Uh, it's done on fairness, but also because most of the times the stewards are going to make you give up the spot anyways. You might as well go ahead and give it up right then and then get back to business. Well, Alonso didn't give it back, and as Martin Brundle very appropriately and thoughtfully said, Alonso is going to say that he was forced off and that he shouldn't have to give it up. And basically, Kubica had a problem with his differential. So before Alonso was instructed to give him back the spot, before he could give the spot back, Kubica retired because of the differential problem. So now the stewards were faced with how do we penalize Alonso? Because he took the spot, he didn't give it back willingly, and instead of giving, I mean, I'm not sure what the other tools at their disposal as far as penalties go were. A 5-second add to the end of the race. I mean, I'm not sure, but they ended up giving him a drive-through, which is a pretty severe, it's actually the most severe penalty, or one of the most severe penalties. Basically, it was completely disproportionate to the offense. And so Alonso, after a few laps of being back out on the track after his drive-through, got on the team radio and told his team no more radio for the rest of the race. He was literally that furious with his drive that he told the team he didn't want updates on, his pace or how the car was running. I mean, he wanted to hear nothing from the team. So he ended up finishing, pulled it up, 14th. Massa was 15th. They were both plagued with punctures and drive-through penalties and just horrible race for Ferrari. Like I said, Mark Webber finished first. He was really in a class of his own. Even when they had the caution for De La Rosa's wing debris, he just drove away. There was no chance of catching him. But he finished first, Hamilton was second, Rosberg was third, Button was fourth, Barrichello with Williams, great finish in fifth for them. Kobayashi finished sixth for Sauber, so congrats to Sauber for making it up into sixth. Vettel was seventh, Sutil was eighth, Schumacher was ninth, so pretty good finish there. Nico Hulkenberg was 10th, so they were laughing. There were 4 Germans on the track at one point towards the end of the race. 4 Germans in a row, obviously. It was Sutil, Vettel, Schumacher, and Hulkenberg, and they were all giving each other a pretty good fight, so that was fun to watch. Liuzzi was 11th, Buemi was 12th, Petrov 13th, Alonso, Massa 14th, 15th, Trulli was 16th, Heikki Kovalainen was 17th, Timo Glock was 18th, Karen Chandok was 18th, or Karen Chandok was 19th, Yamamoto was 20th, and then Alguersuari, De La Rosa, Kubica, and Degrassi all retired. So, it was a great race. We are going on to Germany in 2 weeks' time, and we'll see. Now that Webber is the number 1 driver as far as points are concerned in the Red Bull garage, it'll be interesting to see. I just realized I said garage. I've been watching way too much BBC. Well, it'll be interesting to see kind of how the team dynamics shift. A lot of times, both the media and fans have kind of said that Webber has kind of gotten the raw deal, and he even made note in his radio transmission after he took the checkered flag. He said, not a bad drive for this team's number 2 driver or something like that, basically spitting it out. And it was great watching Eddie Jordan in post-race talking with Christian Horner, and Eddie looked at Christian and basically said that when Christian came on the radio and said "good job," Eddie thought that was not. It didn't feel genuine, and that Red Bull faces much of the same situation that McLaren does, where they've got two drivers who are championship material, still in the hunt, and kind of how are they going to manage those egos and expectations. So, great drive. I thought Weber was great. And then Jenson Button and Sebastian Vettel with their recoveries were awesome. So, good job to them and for everybody who raced. See you guys later.